Hello, you all. Welcome again to the Leadership Advancement Mentorship Podcast, the podcast that showcases the journey of leaders and how they can inspire, imagine leaders with their journey, with how their development as a leader has happened, the awareness, all the things, the orders that they go over, and also how mentorship as shaping them to become an effective leader. And with us today is someone I've been looking forward to having on this podcast. In fact, I was with her yesterday, and it was a joy to have Miss Theresa Agostinelli. Hello, Miss Theresa. How are you today?
Good morning, my friend. I'm doing well. Thank you so much. How are you
Yeah.
doing?
My name is Dr. Michael Koku, and people knows me because I own this podcast. But who are thou? Who are you? Tell us about yourself. Tell us something about yourself so that let's meet you.
So, thank you. I'm honored to be here. My name is Theresa Agostinelli, and I am a leadership development coach. I am a business strategist coach, as well as a licensed clinical psychotherapist. So, I help people with their mental and emotional well being, as well as helping those who are looking to expand their career or change their business or go on an entrepreneurial journey. I've been doing that for almost 20 years. I also am an adjunct professor at a local university in the Philadelphia area, and I am an author, and I am an executive contributor for Brains Magazine, which is an online global magazine on leadership development.
Wow. Wow. You got so many hats and one big hat.
One big hat.
Yeah, one big hat and so many hats. That was awesome. Now, this is why I want to ask you this question. What is the greatest lesson you have learned in your life?
Oh, that is a great question. I've learned so many lessons
What the greatest?
Michael, but I would say that the greatest lesson I've learned is that you cannot become successful all by yourself. You need to have a team of people around you, as John Maxwell says, who know the way, show the way, and go the way. That's what has been my most meaningful lesson learned.
So, am I hearing you talking about collaboration? Because the way you put it, I like the way you really say it. You cannot succeed by yourself. You need a lot of people around you. And is that what you meant? Is that the one word for what you just said? Is that all about collaboration?
Well, yeah, I mean, I would say collaboration is key, and having a team of people around you that you can learn with and learn from and expand those relationships into to making a difference in your communities.
Wow. You know what? I'm big about words. You're using some words now, and I like to say it this way: if you want to be, if you want to really be great, two skills are really required. Active listening, which incorporates mindful listening and empathetic listening. Then you need powerful questioning, and you need direct communication and building trust. In fact, all those four things I just mentioned, those are the foundational skills for a good coach. These are foundational coaching skills. Now, you can formulate your questions from the answers that you got. Now, I'm going to go back to what you said, because what you said was powerful, and I want to highlight it. You said we need people to learn with and people to learn from. Wow, that was profound. Did you make that up, or when does this awareness came to you? I mean, this is really interesante, like they say in Spanish. When did you have this awareness? People to learn with and people to learn from. What's the difference between people to learn with and people to learn from?
Well, when I was 26 years old, my husband suddenly died, and I was a widow, and I was a single mother, and I had no job, and I had few skills and few resources. And I was spiraling downward in despair and just um, fear, anxiety. And what I realized was that I was not getting the help that I needed because I thought I could do it by myself.
Hmm.
And I realized that there were so many other people who were going through some things similar. So I joined a grief group through my church that I was attending at the time. This was many years ago. And I realized it was not alone on my journey. And I
Hmm.
realized that other people were suffering and there were other people out there going through what I was going through. And not only did that help me, when I was able to heal from my pain and to get myself better, I was able to host my own grief group for widows and
Hmm.
widowers. And
Hmm.
that's what I mean by learning with
Hmm.
people and learning from people. So I was
Hmm.
able to help others through what I learned.
Wow. Wow. That's
That
awesome.
helped. Yeah.
Yeah, that's now. Uh, Let me categorize it and now prioritize it. So learning with, I want to consider that as a peer group. Peer. That's a learning with.
Yeah.
And learning from, I want to put that as someone that is far ahead, like a
Right.
mentor, like a mentor. So learning from, so we need people to learn from, and we need people to learn with.
Yes.
And I believe that, in fact, one of the models that I created is called LAMP. And even though this podcast is called LAMP, Leadership Advancement Mentorship Podcast, but I created a learning model called LAMP. I learned this from Chris Robinson. That's not what they call it. But from what I learned from Chris Robinson, the executive vice president of the Maxwell Leadership Entrepreneur Solution, I was able to create that learning model. That means if you want to succeed in any area in your life, you need that LAMP. The L is learning, not just learning, but in-depth learning. And the A is A talks about application. So you learn, then you move to the next step to apply. Because Jim Rohn said, better than knowledge is applied knowledge. Then the M is where we talk about mentorship. That's what you just mentioned. We need people that we can learn from because you can give out of empty. You need people that you can learn from, people that are ahead of you. And that's the place of mentorship. Then the last one is people that we can learn with. And I call this one peer. In fact, that peer is an acronym. So that peer is people that peer talks about positive, enriching, encouraging relationships.
I love that. Yeah.
Like both of us now, me and Miss Theresa, we are both Maxwell Leadership Team members. We are peers. We get together yesterday. We were just sharing some things and all that stuff. And it's a peer to peer. So having someone to learn with makes the journey beautiful, because you have an opportunity to really interact, collaborate, and to learn from one another. And so all those relationships are very essential. Now, I want to tell us, when did you become aware of your leadership potential? I believe leadership is for everyone. We just had a conference last Saturday, and Women in Leadership Conference. We have like 495 women registered all over the world, and it was a very powerful conference. And guess what? One of the speakers in the next conference, March 2nd, 2024, is Theresa Agostinelli. So she will be one of those speakers. So we want to know, tell us, how did you become aware of your leadership potential?
That's a great question. And when I was a little girl, I loved teaching. And I always wanted to inspire others, even as a little girl. But I was so afraid of myself. I had learned behaviors that were limiting beliefs in myself. So I needed someone to help me bring that out.
Mm.
And I learned many years ago when I signed up for school. I went back to school. I got a master's degree. I made a conscious decision to further my education.
Mm.
One of the very first people I met was my English teacher, my English literature teacher for college. And she made a profound impact on my life. She pulled out the leadership in me.
Mm.
She instilled in me the hope that no matter what I had been through,
Mm.
I was going to lead others. And
Mm.
so that's where I first realized that I had the capability and the potential to lead others.
Wow.
Um, and I would say that there's been so many impactful moments and people in my life, but I would say for me, the pendulum swung to the better when I became a John Maxwell certified coach, when I became a
Mm.
member of the John Maxwell group, because I met so many people who were so further along than me where I was in
Mm.
my journey. And I was pretty far along. I've been doing what I do a long time. But when I joined the John Maxwell team membership, I learned so much. And that's where I perfected my communication skills,
Mm.
leadership skills, mentoring skills, and
Mm.
ultimately my coaching skills and counseling skills. So
Wow.
I would say that those were the two most impactful.
Wow, that's awesome. In fact, you just put the question, and I was about to ask, because the thing I like to do is, after talking about how you became aware of your leadership potential, the next thing I always ask is, then what have you done concerning developing yourself? And you just share how you got into a growth environment. And I mean, that also like take so much investment. Tell us, why did you see the need? I haven't become aware of that. Oh, someone was able to point into that leadership potential inside of you. So why did you see the need? Why is it important to you to grow yourself? Because I believe that's why you joined the Maxwell leadership team. Then at that time it was called the John Maxwell team, and that was the same thing that inspired me to do the same thing. And I've seen a real astronomical growth since I joined the tribe. So the question is, why did you consider it important? Why is personal growth, personal development, why is it very important for a leader to develop their leadership within them? Yeah. Why is it important?
Well, I would say first and foremost, we saw a big change in our world with COVID. We saw a big change in our world with the pandemic, right?
Mm.
And I didn't want to see myself go out of business, and I didn't want to see others go out of business. And that was a time for all of us to really dig deep into our soul and see where we wanted to go, and how far could we go. And so I delved deeper into leadership and personal and professional development myself because the world had changed.
Mm.
And I also believe that things change so quickly. You know this. I mean, we are seeing changes rapid. Our world is changing. Our days are changing. Life is changing. We have to keep up with those changes.
Mm.
So there are people in our lives, like you, myself, who are actively studying, who are actively researching, who are actively teaching, and who are actively seeking their own personal and professional development so that they can bring that to those they lead. So I
Mm.
believe that we must always be holding ourselves to a higher standard,
Yeah.
and we got to be ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
We have to know what's coming. And I think John Maxwell did that beautifully during the pandemic. He was ahead of the curve. He kept us ahead of the curve. His
Mm.
information, his leadership, his teaching, and the mentors in the John Maxwell that I would get on the calls with, as you know, for mentorship calls. And, these guys and girls were helping us stay ahead of the curve so that we can bring
Mm.
to our people that we were serving. So I think
Wow.
personal and professional development is important because it will help you serve your clients better.
Wow.
It will also keep you always learning and growing yourself.
That's awesome. Wow.
That's how you become successful.
Yeah, you just answered the question, and that was it. Because we can serve people better if we're not growing ourselves, and because you can only give out of what you have, And one thing I like to do every day is I like to grow every day. I like to learn something new. For instance, I'm taking Spanish class. I do it every day. And today will be like number 408 non-stop trek that I do, continuous learning. This is what Winston Churchill said. Winston Churchill said, continuous effort, not strength or intelligence. Intelligence is the key to unlocking your potential. So Winston Churchill, the former prime minister of United Kingdom, said, if you want to unlock your potential, you need continuous learning, not strength, not intelligence. Now, in what way have you put this into application? What is your system for continuous learning?
Well, that's why I wrote a book. I wrote a book about it, as you can see behind me, the grid system.
So tell us about the book.
So I wrote this book many, many years ago, but I never did anything with it. And during the pandemic, I decided to get the book published. But it wasn't that simple. It's not that easy to publish a book. So it takes a lot of time and effort, and it takes a lot of learning. So I realized that there were so many people who had potential, and you said unlock your potential.
Yeah.
And I used to say, let's unlock your potential. Now on my website, it says maximize your potential, because we all have potential, but how do we leverage our gifting? How do we leverage our talents? How do we leverage our life experience? That's maximizing your potential. So I help people use what's already in there to maximize their potential for success. So the grid system is basically an acronym for your psychological grid, because we're all born with a psychological grid that we fill in over time. And I can get into that another day. But the grid system simply was born out of my own journey, the things that I saw holding me back, and what I learned to do to overcome so many situations in my life and to help others. So first and foremost, the G was for getting honest, getting real, right? Reaching out for help. Get real with yourself, knowing that you're not where you want to be, and there's so much more potential in there, right?
Yeah.
And then the R is for releasing all the negativity, releasing anything that holds you back from reaching your success, right? You've got to release all of that. And then the I, which you'll love, is invest. Invest in your personal and professional growth. That's the only way to maximize your potential, is invest in your personal and professional growth and development. And then the D is the discipline to stay the course, because a lot of people give up too soon. They quit. I saw myself struggling with that. You have to have the discipline to go far. And as you know, life is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And we need to develop that discipline to go as far as we can with those that can help us. So that's what the grid system is, and that's what it's all about.
I'm learning so much. One of the quotes I saw this morning in my reflection is Michelangelo. And guess what? That's one of the shortest quotes I have ever seen in my life. Guess what the quote says?
What?
I am still learning.
I love that.
Yeah, I am still learning. Michelangelo. That's the secret of great men and women. They are still learning. So my question for you is, what are you learning now as a leader?
What am I learning now? I am learning that I had this potential, this tremendous potential inside of me. And I needed to have the right people around me help me maximize and leverage that potential. Because it's a very lonely journey when you are on a journey trying to be who you want to be. It's a lonely journey when you're doing it by yourself. So what have I learned? There's so much more in all of us.
Yeah.
If we would just take the time to assemble the right people in our lives.
Wow, that's awesome. Now, what you said got me thinking about this quote. Like I'm a quote freak. One of the book I'm writing now is called Inspiring Quotes, Your IQ Booster. And one of the quotes by this man, Albert Schweitzer. Albert Schweitzer was trained as a medical doctor. Before that, he was a world-class, singer. I mean, he was like an instrumentalist. Everybody knows him. In fact, this man was so phenomenal. He wanted to make a difference in the world. And after he became it's a concert size, real pianist, instrumentalist that people know him, that he now went to medical school when he was older to learn medicine so that he can go to Africa. He actually went to Gabon, set up a medical practice, and he began to help people. He was the one that said that the only people that will be happy among you will be those that are given to serving others. So happiness is not all about you. It's all about what you make happen. It's the happenings that you make for others. Now look at what he said, and I know this will light your fire. Listen, this applies to everyone. Listen to me. If this does not light your fire, then your wood is wet. This is what Albert Schweitzer said. He said, at times, our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lighted the flames within us. That's the place of a community. That's a place of collaboration. And look at what Jimmy Ken Lima said. The founder of IT Cosmetics. And Jimmy said, we are each a steward of the power we have to lift each other up. And it is free to use. That means we all have power to lift other people up. Now, why am I saying this? Because a lot of people are abusing that power. The same power that God has given you to lift people up, guess what? They are using it to pull people down. Some people, they have a PhD degree. Now, let me tell you what the degree means. Pull him down, pull her down. And this is an abuse of power. J.B. Ken Lehman said, we all have this power to lift other up. There's so many ways we can lift other people's up. There's so many ways. And if we don't understand that power, we're going to abuse it and use the same power to pull people down. By talking bad about people, gossiping about people, spreading so many scandalous statements about people. But the main thing is this: using the power is the right way to lift people up. Now, you talk about maximize your potential. As a leader, can you just give us like 5 ways you believe, you think how people can maximize their potential? Just like 5 ways, five tips.
Absolutely. First and foremost is personal and professional development. Find a mentor. Mentors are extremely important. Number 2, I believe you need clarity. Okay. I just wrote an article for Brains Magazine on why lack of clarity holds people back from reaching their potential. So you need clarity. 3, I believe in self-care because sometimes we are doing so much for so many that we forget and we empty our cup and we start to lose hope and get tired and weary. So self-care is important. Number 4, I believe it's important to find your passion. Because when you find your passion, it will propel you into your purpose. And studies have shown, Michael, that most people survive and thrive when they have found their passion to serve others. And my fifth tip, and you caught me off guard here. So
yeah, no, I like to catch people off guard. Yeah, no scripting.
No script here, folks. And so I love these questions, and I'm digging deep because I have so many ways.
Yeah, I'm taking it out of you.
I would say 5th and foremost, stop worrying about getting the money.
What do you mean by that?
Many people go into business or entrepreneurship thinking that they're going to make millions of dollars. And then they get discouraged and they get tired and weary. I learned a big lesson when I stopped worrying about where's the money going to come from? How am I going to get money? How much money am I going to get? How am I going to keep this money rolling in? When I stopped worrying about that and focused on, I am helping to change the world. I am a change maker. I am surrounding myself with people who are change makers. We are changing the world. I want to be around people that light my fire, Michael, like yourself. I want to be around people who are serving others. And that is my 5th tip is
wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. And listen, and one thing that is big to me about this podcast is, and I want you all to know, there was no question sent to any speakers, any leaders that come to this podcast. Even though it's recorded, they only get the question when they come. And I like it because we want to serve you better. We're not funny. We want to make sure that you get value for your time because we have respect for every second that you spend with us on this podcast. Either you are watching us or listening to us. Now, the last question I'm going to have for Ms. Theresa is this. Tell us, how has mentorship, because we talk about someone to learn from, how has mentorship shaped your life to become an effective leader as you are today?
That's such a great question. And I have several mentors in my life, folks. I have my own coaches and counselors and business advisors and mentors, right? How has that helped me? My mentors have helped me because they have been able to answer simple questions that I might be struggling with, right? They have helped me to shift my mindset. My mentors have taught me how to do better and to be better. And I think that having mentors in my life has opened my eyes to so many more great things in life. And finally, having a mentor will open up doors of opportunity for you.
That's awesome. Wow, that's great. And Ben Johnson said, he that is taught by himself has a fool for a mentor. That means if you are the one teaching yourself alone, you have a fool for a mentor because you don't know everything by yourself. We all need people ahead of us. So it's been a great time with you. Tell people how they can connect with you and where can they, I know where to find you, both physically and digitally.
Yes.
But how can people find you? How can they connect with you? Someone is there listening to you. We're going to bring you back later on. So we're going to talk about your book comprehensively. But for now, where can people find you? How can people connect with you and have access to the service that you offer?
Thank you. Absolutely. And thank you again for having me. It's been a delight to be here.
You're welcome.
Folks, you can find me. I'm on all social media, but My website is www.prof, P-R-O-F, with, W-I-T-H, purpose, PURPOSE.com. profwithpurpose.com. You can also reach me on email, and I can give you that. It is Theresa, Theresa, at profwithpurpose.com. And I can give you the link to my book, which is on Amazon. And I've been mailing out copies. People want a signed copy, so they can I will mail that to you if you would like a book. They're $20, but for your listeners, if they want to have a book mailed to them, I would be happy to $14.99.
Wow.
For the book. So I would love that. And Michael, I would like to make sure that I get you a complimentary copy. So when we hang up, I'll get that information and I'll mail one to you right away.
Wow, thank you. You know what? If you are listening and watching, the link, I know you're like, oh, I couldn't catch up. I want to write. I couldn't get it. We're going to put all the link for our website, our email is going to be in this podcast. And you will get everything so that you can see the link to get the book on Amazon, or if you want a personal autographed copy. So all that information will be put on this podcast specially for you. And Mr. Theresa, I want to say thank you for your time. You've had so much value to people. You know, you've done a lot, because I'm aware that there are three kinds of leadership. And there are three kinds of leadership. We have temporal leadership, we have incomplete leadership, and we have the ultimate leadership. A temporal leadership is a kind of leadership that says but don't do. It's a leader that says talk a lot, but they don't do nothing. They talk the talk, they don't walk the talk. An incomplete leader is a leader that actually do, but they don't say. They're doing a lot of things. They walking the talk, but they're not talking the talk. I mean, when I started learning this, I just learned this yesterday. I was like, wow, this is awesome. I thought if you just do, that's okay. No, it's not okay to be doing. You have to say and do, because people have to learn from you. So that takes us to the last kind of leadership, the ultimate leadership. They are leaders who talk the talk and walk the talk. So we need both. We need both. That gives us a balanced view. So I want to say thank you for being an ultimate leader. And you're not a temporary leader. You're not an incomplete, because you shows up to let us learn from you. Because faithfulness, according to John Maxwell, is more than showing up. It is showing up, adding value to people, and making a difference in their lives. Listen, you are a faithful leader. You showed up this morning, and you didn't just show up. You add so much value and make a difference in our life. So we want to say thank you, because gratitude is an attitude with magnitude. So we want to say thank you to you, and thank you for your time. And viewers and listeners, I believe you have been impacted by Ms. Theresa Agostinelli. And until I come your way again next week with another high-class leader, I want you to know it's all about application. That is the key to transformation. Thank you.